Hello, hey, this is my life story. Yes, that's what I have to say. At that level, so
That's
I was living with my mother at the time, and she did not raise me. She was in and out of my life because when I lived with her and she was married to my father, she was addicted to Adderall and also had bipolar disorder. So she ended up going into psychosis, which led to her leaving my dad and taking us with her and putting us in a homeless shelter with her for women who hide from their abusers. And so pretty much after she did that mess and like detectives found out where we were hiding after like 4 months, because my dad, sent out the police for us because we were just like 6 and I was 9, me and my brother. After that, she was pretty much out of my life. Like, she wasn't really allowed to be in my life. So when I was 15, I left my dad's house and decided to move in with my mom because she promised like everything to me. Like, she said that she seemed like she had like really changed, and like she promised that I could go out, I could have friends over, I didn't have like a curfew, I could do whatever I want, wear whatever I want, like, and of course to a bipolar 15-year-old myself, like, that looks like heaven, like getting to do whatever I want when my dad's constantly like barking at me, yelling at me, we're constantly fighting, like, yeah, I'm gonna move in with you. So after a while of fighting with my dad, I finally moved in with her, and he gave up like on trying to just pick me up from her house on her weekends. Like, I remember last time he ever did, he came and picked me up after my weekend with her, and I said, I'm not coming out there. And he was like, yes you are. I said, no Dad, I mean it. And he was like, I love you. And he drove off in his truck, and I stayed with her for the next almost 2 years. Lived with my mom. So during this time, I went to alternative school. I was already in alternative school, but I continued to go with her, like under her care, and I got addicted to Oxycontin, methadone, fentanyl, pretty much any drug that like is so little you can just sneak into an alternative school and just get high all day. So like I started getting really high, and my bipolar disorder, like that I just recently kind of been diagnosed with, was being counteracted with, like, I was on 3 different antipsychotics at that time, that my mom actually, I believe, like had tampered with herself and like kind of made up my own medication schedule depending on her mood. So she would have me tranquilized most of the day. She had alarms set. She had a safe that she would lock up, the pills in, and she would, give it to me to take. And after that, I'd like be really just kind of like zooted cabooted like all day. I couldn't like feel anything. I didn't have conversations with people. I didn't eat, like, except for doing drugs, which like obviously. So my mom, while I lived with her, was with her husband. This is her 7th husband. My mom's like abusive things. I hate that I can't mention like what she did, because I feel like that doesn't correlate with the question. Because the reason why I got put in state's custody is my like buildup of things, of doing them impulsively. So, I mean, my mom started like locking up the food and putting padlocks on everybody's doors at night except for mine. And I started getting molested by my stepbrother, who was 19 or 20 at the time of me being 15, 16. And he had fetal alcohol syndrome because of his adoptive parents. So when I finally like explained to my mom like what had been going on, she was like, you messed with a special needs kid, you're the devil. Like, and she held that shit against me. She was like, how do you feel doing that, you nasty, like literally just the worst shit you can imagine coming out of like your mother's mouth. Like, I remember when I told her that her boyfriends molested me, like, she had so many boyfriends when she left my dad. She just let them in the house at night. Like, they all had keys, they all had ways in, and like they didn't stay asleep all night. Like, they didn't just like stay with her all night. Like, they'd get up to piss or whatever, get up to go get food, whatever. Like, they're just, you can't do that shit. So I remember when I told her, she was like, no, you're wrong. It was your grandfather. And next thing I know, like, I'm telling DCS that my grandfather touched me, and that wasn't even true. Like, I just kind of couldn't get her to say what really happened, so I had to just go with that shit. And then he died before his name was cleared, which was, my whole family left me with her at that point. So nobody was checking in on me, so I started taking more drugs at that point. And finally I got addicted to Duster, and I gave myself some brain damage there, and ended up getting hospitalized from Duster. And that was her like last like big straw, like, was the Duster. So that was the first time that she threatened giving me up. And then literally the next week I had hidden a phone. I had a phone, it was an iPhone for like a week. I had an iPhone from my friend Tara because she was worried for like my safety, because my mom had gotten more like compulsive with like her punishments or like treatments, whatever she like was trying to like isolate me and do inside the house, whatever mental games. So like I had the phone out in the living room. She came out, she saw the phone, she said, give me the phone, you little bitch. And I said, no, over my dead body. And I held the phone to my chest and backed up into the fireplace. And she charged at me, and she said, I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't give me the phone. And I said, you can't beat your child's ass. You can't touch me. Don't touch me. I'll call the police. Don't touch me. You know, and I'm so embarrassed that I handled it the way I did. But like, honestly, like, yeah, I handled it better than she did, because she ended up strangling me on the floor. And she had me by my neck, and she was screaming for my brother to get the phone out of my hand, because my brother at this point and my stepbrother had all come out in the living room, and we're all just staring at me. And my brother just walked up to me and was like, I love you, like, while she was strangling me, and just like grabbed the phone out of my hand. And then he gave it over to her. And then I had a court date the next day, and everybody acted normal. I also got charged that night for unruly, but I had a court date for going out with I snuck out with a boy. I snuck out my window and went out to a lake. Didn't do any drugs that day, literally had a picnic with a boy, and came home, and I got charged with unruly, so I had a court date the next morning. Everybody was acting normal, and they were all like, yeah, honestly, I don't think anything's gonna happen, which I thought was weird, because like, I remember saying, I feel like something bad's gonna happen to me this time. I feel like they're gonna like put me in like juvenile this time. Definitely. And he was like, no, they won't do shit. Maybe some community service, but you're fine. I just remember like looking in his eyes and being like, he's right. He's a good man. And I went in there, and my mom, I was in this room with this like black lady named, and she just like randomly out of nowhere, my mom takes out all of my files. This lady's supposed to just be talking about my one charge. She takes out all of my files, puts them all on the table, and she says, this is what she did, 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 this is what she did. She needs to be in jail. And instead of like reading all that, she just looks at her and goes, do you want to give away your rights today, right now? And my mom, without hesitating, said, yes, where do I sign? And I'm just like, what? Like, Mom, I'm starting my senior year this week. Like, what? Mom, I want to go to prom. Mom, I want to do this right. Like, I've been trying to do better. Like, I just need like just a little bit more time. And I just looked so stupid. Like, I hate how many times in my life I've looked so stupid pleading with people. It's so fucking frustrating, like asking people for a little bit more time, a little bit more understanding. But she didn't give me any more time, not to even speak, because she went off into another room, signed the papers. I was put into custody. I was brought over to the state office, and I slept in the state office on a couch, like a futon, and from then on I was a state kid. So I actually spent more time in state offices, which is like, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this because there's been a law passed now where they're like, kids are not allowed to sleep overnight. Kids are not allowed to stay in state offices for this amount of time because kids were getting neglected, and like it looked like neglect, but actually literally I would have like slept on the street without it. Like I like, state workers are so sweet. They fed me more than my mom ever did. Like, so I spent more time like in the offices. I went to a foster home that I stayed at 2 foster homes. Yeah, I was fine. Nice families. I feel bad for foster kids that have done that their whole life, like, because like I don't know how you would ever feel like you had a family. Like, everybody acts like an alien. There's always rules. The moment you go in, you have to sign like a rule thing. Yeah, there's like a little special needs boy that had a crush on me though, at one of them, and he had a Tamagotchi, and he would update me on its life and like how it had been doing all day, all the time, and I just appreciated that because like at least somebody was looking up for somebody. It was good. I think it affected my transition into adulthood like entirely. Like it kind of dropped me on my head whenever, because I was placed with my grandmother who like has Alzheimer's and or early stages of it. So she couldn't really take care of me. So whenever I was placed with her, it like I lived in a good home and like she was sweet and like it looked great. And I love her and she raised me. Like my grandmother is the one like that was there, like taught me everything I know. Love my nanny, but she can't always, like, she's not always sane. Like at night she gets, you know, down, what is it called? Not Down syndrome. It's called moonlighter syndrome or something, you know? They act weirder at night. Anyway, I ended up running away. That's the only way it affected it, because I ended up homeless after I ran away from the person I was placed with.
Why'd you run away?
He was actually there the night it had happened, which is funny to say, because we had been like rendezvousing on my front porch like when our first few months of dating. And it was like kind of late at night, and I'd gone into my room and I had lit some candles. There were candles on a candlestick on the wall that were like Victorian, and they come all the way out and they stick out from the wall, and you light the candle. And I had never lit them, and also there was wallpaper on the walls. And I did not ever think that that would look like a threat, but while I was in my room, my grandmother started banging on my door and it was locked. And this is like her trigger, like off the bat, you cannot lock your door in my nanny's house. And that's reasonable, always reasonable, because why would you need to? So I open it and she sees the candles, and she's in her night stage, and she goes, "Yeah, I knew you were trying to kill me. I knew you had been trying to kill me. You're going to burn down the house and I'm calling the police." She grabs the phone. She's screaming that I'd been trying to kill her. Next thing you know, she starts dialing 911. Keep in mind, just a few months ago, I got charged once again by my mother and had just been placed into state's custody, which if you get in legal trouble, nobody's there to really bail you out. Like, that's your life. You're stuck in there as a state kid. And it also, like, most kids don't have any, like, real genuine guidance or people that care about them once they're placed in that custody, because they're only seen as a number, and it's pretty messed up for them to, like, try to go from there. But anyway, I panicked in that moment once I saw her call the police, and I just stuck my head out the window. He was smoking a cigarette. I just said, I'm coming with you. And he said, okay. And I grabbed like some jeans and some shirts and I threw it in a bag, and she came in there while I was doing that and was like, what are you doing now? You planning on running away? And I was like, no, I'm getting ready for bed. So I took off the clothes I had just put on and then restarted, packed up my thing once she left, and then I was out the door. I got on a bus with him and we rode to a part of Nashville, Tennessee I had never lived or seen before in my life, and my life has been different ever since. Yes, of course I did. So DCS, I'm so sorry, microphone. DCS has actually been in my life like since I was in kindergarten. They've come in and questioned me. States people have come in and questioned me my whole life just because my mom was constantly like putting allegations against my dad and having DCS checking me, and then I'd have actual wellness checks because of like allegations or my dad checking. Like they just kept calling DCS on each other when I was a kid to make each other look bad and file, but me and my brother were the only ones like dealing with it. So like yeah, pretty much now talking to state workers, it's like the worst feeling in the world, hearing like the robotic questions and the blank stares and the pen clicking, the notepads and the documentation. I feel like everything that actually comes out of people's mouth that is organized and like makes me feel secure is the most fake and the most like prepared and premeditated, you know? Yes, it definitely did, because kids are actually really like watched and in state's custody, really isolated. Fun fact, most kids are not allowed to have a phone. It's like a rule. Can't have a phone if you're in state's custody. You can't have a car unless they like take you to they take you to all of your doctor's appointments. They take you to Walmart. Those are the only ways that you can get clothes in life, is through Walmart, unless you manage to get a job and if they let you, whatever house you're in, and then you can buy your own. But like that's rare that kids can even do that because they're watching you like you're a bad kid. So I was like under my grandmother's care and she had no idea what, you know, you're with Alzheimer's patients. I practically like lived in the house by myself in a little way, even though she's literally the biggest soul and I love her to death. Once again, please, I hope my grandmother does not see this. I felt very alone, so I took whatever opportunity I got to get drunk, get high, hang out with people, sneak out, whatever opportunity. I just would walk out at night for no reason, just because my window would open. I was like, this is a little adrenaline rush, you know, the idea. But yeah, got me in a bad situation. In the long run, I ended up having to pay for being careless. But I'm great now, so. Biggest challenges I've faced since was homelessness. I went into homelessness. I lived in a hotel with my boyfriend at the time that I had ran off with. I lived with his family. He did not really just say, yeah, okay. He tried to explain to me this circumstance that I was signing up for, the people I was signing up to live with, you know, like really tried to let me know what I was doing, you know, and I mean, it was never proposed until I just said that. So I moved in with his 6 family members into one hotel room at Wood Springs. It's a hotel long stay in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was winter time. And when he lost his job, everybody was like, okay, well, we can do this on our own. We don't even need 2 more mouths to feed. They also did not really like me, which I don't blame them because, like, where did I come from? Like, why is there another mouth to feed? And also, I don't think people have ever been in a household. Most people don't understand that if you're in a household where there's little money, little resources, and so many people in one room, yeah, of course it's fend for yourself. Like, it's fend for yourself. And I honestly was taking up space in their eyes. And so when he lost his job, they took that as an opportunity to ambush us and kick us out in the winter. They said, you know, get whatever shit you can, good luck, figure it out. And it was a weird experience for me. I remember, like, I don't want to get into detail. It was just like me and him walked through Nashville looking for a mission. Like, we were looking for the mission so we could just, like, sleep there that night because he had work the next morning, and I was gonna, like, try to look for a job or something. I didn't even know what I was gonna do. Like, I don't think a lot of people have felt like that literal, I do not know what I'm doing in life. Like, actually, like, I'm sure that people are like, I don't know what I'm doing with my career. I don't know but, like, what if you just spawned? Like, you're 18 years old and you just open your eyes and you're in the middle of, like, Nashville. You got no possessions and you're in love with somebody, and you know that you want to take them wherever you go from here, wherever God allows it to be. So it's like the most freeing feeling, but it's also the most, like, I'm drowning in the Arctic Ocean, like, waves crashing. I'm such a small fish. It's so bad. I feel like nothing. Anyway, I ended up going to the mission. He took me all the way to the women's because they split them and we did not get to sleep with each other the first night we were homeless, which was really scary because the inside of that building, there were women with, like, gangrene in their limbs, and, like, their fingers were black from infection. There were people with their skin missing, or people who had acid thrown on their face or something, and their faces were, like, multiple people with just fucked up acid faces. All night people were fucking and hacking up blood and hacking up mucus in the corner, and I'm sleeping on the top bunk and the whole place smells like hot ass. There's no ventilation. All the lights are off in the fucking building. All the lights are off in the fucking building. The shower is wide open. When I took a shower, some lady literally opened the curtain and casually tried to watch me, and I, like, fucking sideswiped her ass. And, like, I put on my clothes and did a little bit of makeup. I had, like, some lip gloss and mascara in my pocket. And then I headed to the library. And honestly, while I was homeless, the library was where I stayed almost every second of that experience, except, like, the cold parts. But yeah, that was it. That was my experience after homelessness for about, my experience after aging out of state's custody for about 4 months. 4 months. And then we got into hotels again, me and Cody. And I fucked up, kind of, because I didn't, like, know at the time, but I was pregnant before I got here. And all of a sudden, like, my emotions were going crazy. Cody, like, was trying to work and handle, like, the stress of me with alcohol, and we had both slipped up and we smoked some crack for a few days. And then next thing you know, that scared the daylights out of us, and then that was our awakening together as a couple, where we were like, holy shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Our life is about to literally be ruined. We're about to be damned. So then we never touched that again, and got out of there, came here, started this life. He's not a manager. He makes salary. I work my butt off. I have a baby on the way who's actually extremely healthy. By the way, I want you to know the baby is fine. That was my biggest concern. The baby is so fine because it was so early on in the pregnancy and so little. But wow, holy Toledo, like, that scared me. The baby is so healthy. It has 175 BMP heartbeat. So that's just so you know. And yeah, life is really good now. I'm starting to actually feel like kids that leave their parents' house with, like, money in their pocket and make their room at college look nice and, like, you know, have like a good relationship and
have a routine. Like, I finally have that now, but for myself, like under my will. So as you can imagine, this is the best feeling I've ever had in life, literally. Wake up. I would tell her to wake up. I would say, like, because I really feel like I slept, like, for the majority of my, like, being put into foster care. I was, like, kind of pitying myself. I was like, I can't believe I just got abandoned like this. I deserve to do drugs. I deserve to do that. But in reality, I should have been like, no, you're almost 18 and you're in state's custody for this reason. Wake up. So, yeah. Put your big girl cap on. Actually now, like, giving myself that kind of, like, I wouldn't say pity, but actually now taking that time to, like, say, okay, you worked through that. Like I've recently actually come to terms with thinking about my trauma and resolving it. And let me say, it's hard. Like, I don't know how people, like, casually do that, like, in the middle of their day with their therapist and then walk out and then go back to their work. Like, because it destroys me days at a time, like, trying to think about things and, like, trying to put the pieces together on how I can ever prevent that from happening again. Because what fucking strikes me at the end of the day is the fact that I can't stop anybody from doing that to me again. I can never stop anybody from leaving me again. I can never stop anybody from violating me again. I can never stop anybody from, like, hating me or telling me that I'm an awful person. Like, all I can do is rely on myself. So I have to heal right now because, like, honestly, I don't have all that much faith in, like my, like, love for myself at this point. But I do have faith in, like, the fact that I really want to heal and, like, feel like even if somebody does those things to me again, I'm not going to collapse and, like, look like an idiot. You know, I'm not going to beg, you know? Kids are kept in isolation. They don't have friends. They aren't allowed to go out. They don't have, you know, like, parents on top of that, which makes it even more lonely. They don't have nice things, and they don't have any idea what's going to happen to them the moment they turn into an adult. So the fact that they feel like these years as a kid already don't even matter and they get treated like an adult that doesn't matter, that has to deal with their own shit, makes them go into their classrooms and act out and want attention and be the class clown, and it makes them hyperactive, and it makes your state kid that you're supposed to watch call you mom or dad or cousin, or call you all the time throughout the day and ask you to take them to their doctor's appointments. And screw you if that annoys you. Screw you if you call those kids weird. Screw you if you make fun of those kids for their clothes. Screw you if you call them loud or liars or whatever. Because foster kids are the most misunderstood, like, fragile kids. All a foster kid needs is somebody to genuinely just stay and give them something that's good for them. Stay and give them something that actually, like, brings them benefit, not just, like, keeps them here another day. You know, like, so just be kind to your fellow foster kid. My driver's license. I wish I received my driver's license, and I wish I got a check like I was supposed to. Fun fact, the whole time while I was in foster care for 3 years I was in foster care, I never once got a check from them. My grandfather died during that time, and I was staying with my grandmother only. So, like, whenever I turned 18, they gave me the check for my grandfather's death. Like, after I was homeless, by the way. Like, once I got into here, I got that. And so, That was good. But anyway, I never got what they promised. And the tricky thing is that you can't track it down. You can't be like, okay, who do I talk to and say to give me my check? Because it's the state. Like, okay, we called them, we called somebody, and I called this guy and he knows a guy, and now we're gonna wait and see how long it takes for you to get this, and maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. Just check your mail. Like, that's what it's like. So me and my nanny struggled. So screw y'all for not teaching me, the state, for not teaching me how to drive, and on top of that, like they said they would, and on top of that, not giving me any assistance.
Anything else? Any last words? Anything you want to say?
I've only gained strength and character from my story, and this is not even all of it. So never underestimate. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. Thank y'all.
Cool.